Ruth Anoshagaya, and welcome to Build with Pandora, daily knowledge sharing session that we commenced sometime last week. Yesterday's topic, which we touched on, business to business tips on how to ensure that the company converts and ways in which the company can actually, spend less to make more, especially if they have a cut marketing budget. Today, we're going to be talking about a question I received, a question in line with how do I get people to notice my brand and actually buy from me? To give this a bit of more context, I'm going to address this from the angle of someone within the casual wear range, so business to consumer, and the person sells casual wears, footwear, sneakers, as well as shirts and all that. For people to be aware of what you do, number one, you have to have uniformity in terms of what you're putting out, right, and how you're putting this out. I've seen a lot of thrift brands online, so on the Instagram page, thrift brands and how to present their merchandise. While some are well presented in terms of having props there, in terms of having a consistent background, so that background once it forms a certain aesthetics on your page. Others are just more lackadaisical about it, as having rumpled clothes and just clothes flung anywhere. So that's one thing. While you're looking to build consistency within that particular market that you serve, you also want to make sure it's visually appealing. And this is something that I see a lot of business consumer brands not pay attention to, especially in the ready to wear space. You have to tell the story with your brand, especially if you're selling fashion. It does not matter if it's luxury or not luxury, you're still telling a story. You want to present, if it's a thrift brand, for example, you're selling thrift sneakers, a way to present it will be to ensure there's a lot of lights there. You either have one or two props there, you have a background that is very clean. And if the background is not clean, maybe you want a darker shaded background, ensure it complements the footwear that you're actually displaying. So these things are very, very important and very paramount towards the success of how you visualize your brand, right? Because once I visualize a brand, I'm thinking, okay, so how does this result in how the service would be of or for the brand? So if it's someone that is well put together, it's neat, it's well, compiled, it's aesthetically pleasing, I most likely psychologically now, most likely will tend towards purchasing from that brand. That as opposed to a brand that is just, all rumpled up, hurriedly put together, not well thought out or well planned out, and not as aesthetically pleasing. I may not pay attention to their brand. So these are some of the things that we often would overlook, but are very critical to how people perceive a brand and actually end up making a purchase from a brand. And also to address this person's question as to how would I get people to actually notice my brand, you have to leverage communication avenues that are available, readily available to you. So, for example, I see people shy away from uploading things on their WhatsApp status. You'll be surprised, and I say that again, you'd be surprised as to the conversion points that result from just uploading on WhatsApp status. Conversion points that actually trigger a type of mind awareness of your brand or the need for what you do, the product you sell, or the service you actually render. So it's very important that while we are aspiring, quite a number of consumer brands are actually aspiring to advertise, right? Especially if they are, micro, small to medium scale enterprise, the funds may not be there to set aside for budget, but leveraging the platforms that are actually readily available to you, it is very pivotal. Your WhatsApp status, groups that you belong to, compile and compose a very wonderful message. You can tell it as a story. You can come from a storytelling angle. You can come from more of a direct approach, but compile it as a story and make sure it's short, straightforward, sweet, and just hits the spot. And ensure that you have visual elements to accompany that write-up. So don't just copy and paste random write-ups, that you come up with. No, have something that's very visually appealing that so tells the story of your brand. So while people are looking at the message that you're sending, they're also looking at the images that you send. So for example, you're selling a sneakers, right? And you're selling thrift sneakers. Well, some people will not buy thrift sneakers for their day to day. They will definitely buy for maybe, their gym, part of their gym get up or whatever it is, something they can easily wear, put on and wear. You can tell a story about that, right? In your write up, tell a story about that. Post, accompany it with beautiful image of sneakers that are really looking nice, clean, all right, accompany and send it to a group or groups that you belong to, and you'll be surprised that your market is there. They may not buy from you immediately, but being consistent with it is also another avenue to actually getting seen by people. I've noticed quite a number of brands that they've grown organically, and what has ensured that their brand has attained the success in terms of visibility and positioning has been consistency. The consistent use of channels over time. So, consistent use in terms of blog posts that they write, consistent use in terms of social media, consistent use in terms of the aesthetics. So, for example, again back to the thrift store analogy I gave, it's as simple as saying that I will be posting new thrift wears 5 p.m. every day, and 5 p.m. every day, people know for 20 minutes or 10 minutes they are seeing newly uploaded thrift wears on the page. That is consistency. They also know that tomorrow that person will be there to post, I can go and check out the latest in terms of thrift wears that she has. That is consistency. So that's also ways to actually get people to notice your brand, because before you know it, people start posting up on their status that, oh, are you looking for thrift wear 5 p.m. Go on this page and you find it, and that is how it spreads. So it's very important that consistency is not removed out of the equation. While we're actually putting in the effort, it is important that we also remember that we have to do it over a period of time, especially if you're a brand that does not have the big budget like the big guys. Another thing that will get you noticed aside from advertising is also be consistent in answering your messages. That's yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? But you'd be surprised as to the number of people that would ignore messages or chats or respond to wall inquiries. As it has happened to me countless times. I would want to make a purchase and I would go on a person's wall, a small business, and I do not get a response. Maybe I get a response after a month, or I never get a response at all. The same thing applies to your DM. You want people to see, you want brands to see you. Open your DMs. Open your DMs up, open them up, because that's a easy way for people to contact you. You want to ensure that the process to adoption or to purchase of your product is easy for people. We neglect that easy part. Send a DM, and the DM is sent, but it's lost in a sea of DMs. And that's why it's important that if you can also put your price in your product or the services that you send or you post, that would equally, it will eliminate those that are actually your customer base from those that are not your customer base. Because 50% or 60% of the DMs that you may be receiving are from people that you cannot actually afford the product, all right? And you actually uploading your price there eliminates that totally. So it's something that you should also consider and put at the back of your mind. Another way to actually ensure that you get brands and people to notice you is by going for fairs. Oh yeah, it still works. It's an old school method of actually getting your brand seen, but it still works effectively well. Always be on the lookout for fairs, for bazaars, for engage where people are. Where people are, you want to ensure that you spotlight your product, especially if you're selling tangible product. All right, you want to ensure it's properly displayed. Don't just go scattered with a very shriveled up, tablecloth. No, very neatly, very well organized, very well planned. Ensure you plan ahead. If you need to get roller banners, ensure you get roller banners there. Ask questions about the space. What does the space look like? How many things can I bring? So you also do not have things overflowing on your table. So all those things are very, very important, especially again towards a tangible product. So you want to bear that in mind. Another is networking. How to get your brand seen is by networking. I met a lot of consumer brands because I went to an event or a networking conference and they sold their product to me. It was displayed. I liked it. I'm someone that's very busy, so I actually have the time to actually go to the market to make certain purchases. So I look for things that are easy for me to acquire. So as we know, the normal egg, the ball, Gary, and so on and so forth, I will buy from the vendor that actually sells it on Instagram. And this person I met at an event, at a networking event. So you want to network as well, go out, network, have your card there. And if it's an event where you can display your produce, absolutely display your produce, because that would also generate awareness for your brand. And also you want to be, for brands that are more niche, for example, the thrift store brand, you want to go for events that are towards that aspect. So thrift sort of events, you want to be a part of a clothing sort of event, because not everybody can afford thrift. And then some people actually love a grey bag and I love a great bargain. So if the thrift is good enough, it's clean, small, why not? I make a purchase from it. So you want to bear this in mind. But most importantly, you want to be consistent in your efforts. So, for example, is you thinking back that, okay, this person that bought from me in the month of January, where did this person come from? How did I acquire this person? Right? And also bear that in mind every time you get a new customer, you want to ask them the question, where did you hear about me? How did you hear about my product? How did you hear about my service? Because that way you have a top of mind as to what channels are converting for your brand, and you're pretty much amplifying your efforts towards ensuring that channel is more optimized. Right? So it's very, very important it's pretty much carry out the steps. Again, consistency is very important. You do not want to negate consistency. Advertising, absolutely, you want to throw out ads. You can start from one of the most simplest ways that actually would not cost you so much. There are some platforms that are very expensive, and there's some platforms that are inexpensive. Instagram is one platform that's inexpensive. Facebook is another platform that's inexpensive. Twitter, inexpensive, but it depends. It's quite relative on Twitter. LinkedIn, expensive. You can also try Google Ads too, but again, it's more on the expensive side. So you want to tend towards platforms that you can still get quite a number of visibility as well as conversions that I would also will not eat into your profit, as the case may be. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much, and I really apologize. It's coming late. It's been a very busy day. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm glad I got to shoot this video. And see you Monday. If not Monday, probably Wednesday as well. But I'm going to try as much as possible to be consistent with the videos from next week, mid next week towards the end of the month. So thank you so much, and welcome to the month of February.